welcome back from that short break. You're still watching NTV GXP. A very good morning to you. Hope you're enjoying the music and the chat, and hope you are, learning a couple of things here. Of course, feel free to get in touch with us on our Facebook and our Twitter. Our Twitter handle is NTV_GXP. Our Facebook address is NTV GXP. And thank you very much for joining us on Twitter. Again, UG Gospel Life on Twitter, Melon Chillax, Sarah, well, thank you so much for joining us on Twitter. Twino Emma, and yes, we're just talking about art. We're just trying to figure out, the importance of art. It comes from the background of earlier this week there was a 500 million. I don't know if the word is statue. Is that the right artistic phrase? Yes, yeah, statue commissioned at the parish in Mbuya. And let me just ask, from an artist's point of view, I personally looked at that figure and I thought, isn't this extravagant? And before I go into don't you think, isn't it an extravagant figure, 500 million shillings to spend on a work of art?
I think at any one given time, people will ask, why 500? Or why a glass of wine? Or why and why and why and why? What I've known that over the centuries, people spent, or when they didn't spend, they got free. 500 million shillings is a big figure for the honorary person in Uganda when he hears that a crucifix was commissioned at that figure. The Brazilians also went mad when the statue of Jesus was erected on top of a rock in the Rio de Janeiro harbor. Then there is the Statue of Liberty. And then there's something else which was not maybe worth anything because people didn't understand it. That is, there's this thing is in Paris, the Tower, the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. They thought it was a total waste of funds. But what they didn't realize was that at the end of the day, or in the end, it would be a money-minting adventure. I wouldn't like you to look at the one in Mbuya as a money-making adventure, because the cause was to sort of make the image of Christ stand out so that everybody sees it as bigger than anything else. Mm. Somewhere in Dubai, I think there's a building which is very, very tall. Even the clouds are afraid to go around it. There's another one in Taiwan, and so on and so forth. Maybe the question is about religion. Why 500 million shillings? That was a choice of the community, and I think that community made collections and they raised the funds. And maybe they're not having the same kind of idea of benefiting the way the Vatican has benefited from the many creations. But in the end of the day, a good way to make money, because churches are always are known for, which is not such a good thing, but they're known for begging. That's right. And so investing in things like art and museums and things that people can visit and pay for would be a good way for the church to make money. Yep. Okay. So I don't want them to think that. To look at it like that. What is wrong with looking at it like that? Is there anything wrong with looking at it like that? For me, I believe, since people would like, we Catholics, we want to visualize the image of Christ. It will not be surprising that in a few years to come, people will be flocking to Mbuya. Just look at this huge crucifix out of curiosity, and maybe at the end of the day pay for it. If they don't pay the church, somebody selling sodas and water and food in the neighborhood will make a killing. So that's like giving back to the community, because the community around it will benefit. That huge statue of Jesus is just like the freeing of education at Makerere from the original government-paid education to self-sponsorship. The community around Makerere is benefiting because they're putting up hostels. The food vendors, the chukumi and so on and so forth, they have become beneficiaries of the venture. I don't know whether the answer I've given is religiously connected.
Oh, but I have a different way to look. I think religion should be able to impact everything.
So let's look. I mean, it's a question to be answered by anybody. Mm. Maybe the answer will not be, will not come right now, but maybe in another 50 years, 60 years, people would see the significance of that. But is it me to judge whether it's worth it, or is it you to judge? I think those who put it up are the ones who saw need in doing that. Because when you say that people needy who would have benefited from that amount of money, no matter whether it's 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, whatever, the people will always be in need. So when people are in need, does not mean we can't build a highway to the airport.
Well said. Well said. I rest my case. Now, you're an artist, and you've done a lot of work,
yes,
with the church. And I've been looking at a couple of your pieces, and they're amazing. But how do the things you do when you sit down and you're commissioned to do a painting? Of course, what's showing on the screen is some of the work that you've done. When you're commissioned to do a painting, always starts you. How do you want this work to serve the Christian, the person who comes to church, the person who comes to see it? How do you want it to serve the Christian?
The main purpose of art, from the point of view of those who commission me, is to inspire, to help you rewind if you know any bit of the church history. If you don't know, you just look at that and at least gives you a foot from which to start reflecting over what might have happened. And according to the church education or Christianity or Christian education, it's supposed to help you reflect on your own life as compared to what you were taught in Christianity. Because it's not about what happened in Jerusalem or Capernaum or Jericho or Jordan. It's what's happening in your life. Because after all, the preacher talked about being good with your neighbor, forgiving, loving. We hear the story of the Good Samaritan. It's a question of, have you been able to do the same to your neighbor? Have you lived communally? Have you communed with others so as to make your culture survive? Have you contributed to any growth of your society? I think it's a question of someone being made to reflect over personal actions. I believe when an individual buys a work of art, we buy it because whatever we bought reminds us of a certain place. That's why we put our grandparents' photographs and fathers in the sitting room, because each time we look at that photograph, we see Dad. It's just a photograph. Yeah.
So you want it to be a reminder of certain things in the Bible. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming and helping us understand the whole artistic expression in the church, and I hope that, you know, a couple of I hope I'll start seeing a bit more art in the church, especially in our Pentecostal churches who don't really do that much. But before we let you go, is there anything that you'd like to add, that you'd like to expand upon, and any closing remarks?
I remember a couple of years back in Nairobi, a crazy guy, after listening to a sermon on the street, decided to go and do justice on behalf of the preacher, who said, "Thou shalt not worship idols, and if you are really saved, you should destroy the idols." This man went to the Holy Family Basilica and brought the statues of the Holy Family. That was one of the Virgin Mary, Jesus, and Joseph. And he was very, very happy, and he felt, you know, like a hero, because he had carried out what Jesus did when he went to church and he found the vendors, and he threw and turned all the tables. Of course, at the end of it all, I happened to be the one who repaired those statues, put them back. 2 years down the line, the same guy came back and did the same damage. I repaired the statues again. And then the question of, do Catholics worship idols, came. I think those who might have watched that documentary might have watched or seen me talking about art and the church. Catholics don't worship idols. Individuals do. But the Christian Catholic Church only uses images to inspire and make the faithful reflect over their lives and the understanding of the faith.
Well, thank you very, very much, Leonard, for helping us. I think that last clarification right there just puts everything in context. Of course, thank you so much. Everyone was, got in touch with us. All your messages on Facebook and Twitter, keep those coming in. NTV_GXP on Twitter is our tweet handle, or NTV_GXP on Facebook. You can just get in touch with us there and just let us know what you're thinking. Is there art that has inspired you as regards the church? Have you walked into a place and you look at the stained glass, and you're thinking, oh, that's nice, it brought me closer to God. We'd like to hear a bit about that. Or, in your view, is art just one of those things? I was just thinking, art's just keep that. Yeah, I'll stick.
And thank you for having invited me over.
Yes.
I did not expect this, but I hope whatever I've said was of benefit to the church, and as human beings who have always struggled to find or to justify our existence.
Yes.
And imagine that there's a God out there who created us.
So you just make him a lot more real to us, so we understand him. Thank you very much, everyone who's got in touch with us on Twitter. Again, I'd like to shout out to Meron Chill for getting in touch with us on Twitter. Sarah Wanyana, couple of people. Everyone who's getting in touch with us on Facebook will come back and try and read a couple of those messages in a bit, and we'll be getting to DJ Tonjex on the ones and twos, playing us some music. And of course, you can just keep sharing with us. Let us know about, again, the wonderful artistic things that you have seen that have inspired you, and that we'd like to know about that. If you've been to a church and you've looked at the stained glass and things like that, and you have been inspired, we'd like to know those places. We'd like to go visit them. If you've paintings, we've seen lots of paintings, the Last Supper and all those things, and for me this show, what it has done is just sort of put that into context for me, and I'm going to start appreciating this art a lot more. And big thanks Leonard, and I hope Tonjex is going to be do you have an appreciation for art now? A better.
The thing that I wanted to talk about was the contemporary art.
Yeah.
And during the breaks, I was talking about that
as
well. I was wondering, how do we add that to our different
our lights and actions and our
yes,
and our
also,
3D arts.
Also, you know, the 3D arts, the visual arts. Sorry to drag you back.
Yeah.
Just
because the progressiveness of the art doesn't seem to be there.
Well, it's not progressiveness. It's not that art being progressive. Is that something that we can see coming forward? Is that because he creates art?
Yeah.
Is that something you see coming forward?
Have you done any art in Uganda? Because you seem to have been very prominent in Kenya.
Yeah, I have done. Is that on the air?
Yeah. I'm sure. Which art have you done in Uganda?
Some time back in 1977, I think I was commissioned to make a statue of Charles Rwanga or Kalori Rwanga.
Yes.
For I think it's a Kalori Rwanga school.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly where the place is.
Yes.
And also, recently I did again an African statue of the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
For Our Lady of Africa Secondary School, Namiriango.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it. Do you plan to come back and do a bit more art here? Because you seem to have been, you're Ugandan, but a lot of your work is in Kenya.
Let's talk about am I coming back? 1995, I set out on a mission to paint people or families or couples that are regarded as the representatives of specific cultures in their own homesteads. I traveled around Kenya visiting these different tribes. I visited about 20. And then since I could not make it to Sudan, I had to go to Kakuma refugee camp and met again couples, about 3 couples from different tribes in Sudan. I went down Tanzania, and then when I had just ventured into Uganda, I think I went to Moroto, Karamoja, to certainly Manyata, owned by somebody called Apalbang. I finished the painting, went back to prepare myself for more adventures. Then the rains, the El Nino, wiped me out because in most places where I wanted to go, bridges had been swept, and that went on for almost 6 or 7 months. So I was never able to continue moving around.
But you are coming back.
Right now, I'm preparing to resume my adventure, and I believe I'll be seen in Uganda soon.
Yeah, okay. We're looking forward to seeing a lot of that art from you. Thank you so much for giving us your time and helping us understand. And we'll just go back to DJ 20 and the Wonders Studios playing us some music. You're still watching NTV GXP. Good morning.
Hey baby, yeah, date night. Yeah, we're going out tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna be there.